that corresponds to the IEM date. In this example, we see that the layup check was accomplished on February 28, which is the same date as the equipment IEM date. The same process is repeated for the removal of equipment from IEM. Verify the date of startup maintenance, if applicable, matches the date of completed IEM. Discrepancy that needs to be addressed. After you have reviewed the generic scheduling aids and all applicable split MIPs, sort the report by MIP by clicking on the MIP column header. Review all remaining line-out reasons and scheduling aids from this view. Pay special attention to the 5000 MIP series to ensure the correct scheduling aids are being used for this shared MIP. A shared MIP is a MIP owned by multiple work centers but for different pieces of equipment for each work center. With a shared MIP, each work center is responsible for tailoring the MIP to match the equipment within their cognizance. This requires intimate knowledge of the work center by the work center supervisor and the LCPO. When reviewing the remaining lineouts, start with the first scheduling aid used on the MIP as a lineout reason and verify its accuracy by reading the details of that scheduling aid. For example, we will review MIP 1651/005 for Work Center CA01. This MIP has 11 scheduling aids. It should be noted that not all scheduling aids are directives to line out the maintenance requirement. Some scheduling aids provide guidance and amplify information about when and how to accomplish a maintenance requirement. Scroll down the MIP to find the first maintenance requirement that is line out. From this MIP, we see that the D2R has been lined out using scheduling aid number 2. Now let's review the accuracy of this line out by reading the details and guidance of this scheduling aid. Scheduling aid number 2 states, MRC's D2R, 18M4, and R3Q are only applicable to ships with analog, Barton, gauge installed as gauge WGA10. If this scheduling aid is applicable to D2R, it should also be applicable to 18M4 and R3Q, which means 18M4 and R3Q should also be lined out with scheduling aid number 2 as the justification for the line out. As we can see, the 18M4 and R3Q are also lined out with scheduling aid number 2. The next scheduling aid used on this MIP is SA1 for MRC R4Q. For this example, it should be noted that this work center's digital electronic pressure indicator, DEPI, is manufactured by Prime Technology Model 9213. Upon reviewing scheduling aid number 1, it states, MRC's D1R, 18M2, R2Q, U1, and U7 are only applicable to ships with the digital electronic pressure indicator installed as gauge WGA10. There are two types of the EPI gauges. Volumetrics Model 7809. Prime Technology Model 9213. SA1 further elaborates and dictates what maintenance is required for each DEPI. Since CA01 has the Prime Technologies Model 9213, as per SA1's notes A and B. 18M2 and RQ applies to this work center but U1, U7, and R4Q do not. So, as we examine the U1, U7, and R4Q checks further down the MIP, we should see these checks lined out with scheduling aid 1 as the reason for these lineouts. Repeat this review process for all remaining MIPs and lined out MRCs within the work center. Next, We will use the Lope Manager tool to ensure the correct equipment configuration for the work center. Select the Lope Manager view. Select your desired work center. Review the status of each MIP and ensure it displays normal. The count column shows the total pieces of equipment associated with the corresponding MIP. If the column count reads 0, the status will indicate on Lope, not in work center. There are 3 possible reasons for this status. 1. All maintenance requirements for the MIP have been lined out due to an authorized removal of this MIP from the work center by TICOM. 2. All maintenance requirements for the MIP have been lined out in error or without TICOM's authorization. 3. No equipment has been added to the MIP in sked. A status code of on Lope, not in work center is a discrepancy that needs to be addressed or be justified by the work center. If the status code reads, on work center, not in Lope, this indicates a new MIP has been added to the work center and this new addition took place after the Lope was generated. This status code requires a feedback report to be submitted to TICOM to ensure the MIP is added to the Lope in the next force revision. For all qualifications, each work center should have in hard copy or electronic format. Department 3M Assistant and Work Center Supervisor Designation Letters. 3M 301 Maintenance Persons PQS. 3M 303 Work Center Supervisor PQS. And 3M 304 Division Officer PQS. For Work Center ER09 and Work Center with DCPO-related MIPs. Requirements include DCPO designation by Executive Officer. Basic DC 301 to 306 PQS. Quality Assurance 301. Craftsman PQS. Damage Control 303. DCPO PQS. DCPO NKO or CD step course. Some maintenance requirements require special qualifications for these checks to be accomplished. These checks can be identified by reviewing each MIP. Starting from the Work Center view in sked. Select PMS Documents. Then select each MIP and review the rates column. In our first example, MIP 1651/005, you will notice that MRC 24M1 requires a qualified gas-free engineer in order to accomplish this check. The same is true for the U3 and U8 checks. In our next example, MIP 4688-029, you will notice that MRCR23Q has a 4-digit NEC code next to the ratings listed. This indicates a specific NEC requirement for conducting this check. The work center needs to have proof of these NEC qualifications for personnel conducting these types of checks. In our next example, MIP 6122-001, you will notice that MRCS2 requires a safety observer. This requires a safety petty officer qualification in order to complete this check. In our final example, MIP 6200/001, MRCA1 requires a DCPO qualified personnel and a division officer to accomplish this check. Continue this review for all MIPs to ensure that all checks that require special qualifications are identified. Starting from the Work Center view. Select Journal from the sked menu and select Revision Finalized from the categories listed. Ensure the person listed as the authorizing authority is the department head. This should be the case for all revisions. To review weekly closeout, start from the dashboard view. Note that an access level of LCPO or higher may be needed to perform the following tasks. From the dashboard view, we will be focusing on the data presented in the AAR or Administrative Accomplishment Review column. Select the date range to be reviewed. Then select Refresh. In this example, we will review OI Division's AAR. From the date range selected, OI Division conducted 8 weekly closeouts, and 4 of them were late. This may not be accurate, as some closeouts may have occurred on a Tuesday due to the previous Monday being a holiday. So each closeout date needs to be examined and compared with the calendar. We will accomplish this by clicking on the total number of closeouts in the total column. This will show the closeout data for that work center to include the originator, PMS week date, date accomplished, and due date. We will be verifying the dates in the accomplished column with the calendar to ensure all closeouts were accomplished on time. In this example, we see that closeouts on December 11th and 18th were completed on time. However, the closeout conducted on the 27th was one day late, as it should have been accomplished on the Tuesday the 26th, since Monday the 25th was a holiday. Another method to conduct this review is by going back to the AAR details window and selecting the number indicated in the late column. This will show you the weeks that have been flagged by sked as being late. Repeat the same steps discussed earlier to confirm that these closeouts were late and not due to a Monday being a holiday or a day off. All closeouts need to be completed by either the division officer or the LCPO. This information can also be verified from the AAR details window in the originator column. In this example, the closeout originator column shows that one closeout was conducted by the LPO vice the LCPO or division officer. This is a discrepancy. To verify alerts acknowledged by the department head, select the dashboard view and ensure the correct date range has been selected for this review. Then, select the par score for the division to be reviewed. From the periodic accomplishment details window, select the total alerts in the alerts column. This will display all alerts for the work center. Scroll to the far right to view the acknowledged by column. The names listed in this column should be the department heads or the acting department heads. From the Work Center view, select Review. Then select each MIP to verify each maintenance items. Nomenclature, serial number, location, and equipment. Note: serial numbers used should be the actual serial number listed on the equipment. If no serial number is available, a unique identifier or positional reference ID, PRID, may be used by the work center. To review equipment associations. From the Work Center view, select Review. Then select each MIP to verify each maintenance item's ship's RIN and CDM RIN. A RIN is a record identification number used by both sked and OMS to identify a piece of equipment. CDM RINs are created by a configuration data manager, and the ship's RIN is assigned to a piece of equipment by the ship's OMS NG system. Associating equipment and sked to their CDM RINs or ship RINs enables both sked and OMS to communicate maintenance or parts-related information about a piece of equipment in the future. Select each MIP and review the CDM RIN column and ensure this column is not blank and that the data entered is correct. If blank or incorrect, this information can be updated by selecting Work Center from the sked menu. Then select Edit Equipment Details from the drop-down menu. Select the MIP